Hello. Today's story, I want to tell you about a weird thing that happened in my life. It still baffles me to this day. I want to share it with you guys. So, going back a decade, I was married, happily married, for a while, and my wedding ring was something that I'm not into jewellery, but what I used to do, I used to dye it black, a silver ring. I'd soak it in bleach to give it a black appearance, more dark grey, but I wanted it black because, hey, that's what I'm like. And I couldn't afford, or rather, didn't want to spend the money for a pure, already properly black ring. It was a throwaway thing to me. The marriage meant something, but the ring itself was not something I was interested in. Whether that was a sign, I don't know. The marriage eventually stopped. For a while, I wore the wedding ring. I had my beautiful son out of it, and stepkids are great. And so, yeah, I wore it a while because I thought, well, I don't plan to get married again. But eventually, it was like, why am I wearing this wedding ring? I'm not married. So it became almost like a useless item. I'm not into jewellery. And one day at work, I'm a printer. Well, I did more proper printing back in these days. I took the ring and submerged it in a tin of waste ink. Now, as a printer, you put ink in the top of your machine, and then when you're finished with it, you scoop it out, put the best bits back in the tin that you can use again, and the waste you would take with like a scraping knife and just wipe on the side of an old empty tin, and this empty tin would become multicoloured and full of bits of paper and dust and bits of palette that you'd snapped off and all sorts of things. It was just a waste tin. Now, it's the consistency of the ink, well, it dries hard anyway overnight, but it's like paint. If you think of paint, it's thicker than paint, and when it's dry, it's almost like dried paint skin. Once this ring was in the ink, and I distinctly remember thinking not to push it in with my finger because ink takes ages to get out of your skin. It's a nightmare. So I got a bit of broken palette, I dropped it on the ink, and I pushed it in, submerged it, and then threw the stick in the bin. And that was that. I thought, that ring will end up who knows where on its little adventure. Maybe at the tip, wherever they put waste ink. And I kind of thought no more of it initially. It was a redundant item. Got on with my life. But I'm not that kind of person, really. I'm a person who collects things. I don't throw things out. It wasn't long after that I thought to myself, I was a bit hasty there. To an onlooker that might look like I'm bitter. And I really wasn't bitter. But that ink had taken the ring, been thrown in the bin, long since that bin been emptied, and it had gone. And when things have gone, they're gone. And you come to terms with it. I came to terms with it. I think it was months later, maybe 3 months rings a bell in my head, that I went in my works backpack, and which all I kept in my backpack was a scarf, bit of emergency deodorant, a little notepad, and the usual dust and crap that ends up at the bottom of such a work bag, bits of sandwich and crumbs and stuff like that. Nothing really, nothing of any importance. I opened up my bag, and there on top of my scarf, as in the thumbnail, presented to me was this gleaming circle that I thought could only be this wedding ring. Now, in those intervening months, I had thought, why did I throw it out when I've kept things like cinema tickets from the 90s, my child's drawings. God, I've got socks that from when he was like 2. I've got a pair of socks. I mean, what? I don't know why. I keep things. I keep pointless items. I keep every Father's Day card he's ever sent me, every birthday card he's ever sent me. You know, I'm a hoarder rather than a thrower. And I know on his life, I submerged that ring. And here it was. Here it was. Not only, I'd come across it, I opened my bag, that I'd pulled my, for 3 months, pulled my scarf out every day, pushed it back for every day. I'd got deodorant, put my dinner out, you know, tossed my bag around. And yet I open it up, and on the very scarf, nicely placed, was the ring. How does a ring randomly end up in such a presented fashion, especially a ring that I had thrown away, no comebacks? And yet I looked at it, baffled. Like, I threw two things. I threw this away, and look how nicely presented on the very top. That's the last place an item on a shuck bag would be, isn't it? At the top. So then I had to think, did I throw it out? Did I throw it out? Did I think I threw it out and then never went through with it? Was it such a strong image in my head that I could picture thinking about it, and had that become a memory? Well, no. And I'll tell you why. Because as a keeper of things, of tokens through my life, I would have had a place for that ring. I would have had it in, like now I have it, for example, I keep it in a cup. It's a cup in my bedroom that my child made me, and when I come to do this video, there it was. Because I thought, well, where would I put it? Oh yeah, I probably put it in there. And there it was. So if I was to keep that ring, I would not have thrown it in my work bag, which has tiny little holes here and there. I would have put it somewhere safe. The story of forgetting that I'd thrown it out didn't check out. I know for a fact I submerged it. So, the impossible had happened. How did I then deal with the arrival of the ring? I'll be honest, I took it as a sign. It seemed so profound an experience that I thought, if that can happen, anything can happen. But it didn't seem random. I felt like there was something else presenting it back to me. There had been some regret over it. I had thought, that was a bit stupid. Why did I do that? And it was reversed. It's like, yep, there you go. Speak no more of it, sort of thing. I can't explain it. It felt like it had been given to me. And what backs it up is, there's a handful of times when the impossible has happened again. And it's forced me to believe that you can change the outcome of things in your life by thinking about it. And I don't want to delve into that Pandora's box, because this video will end up with me sounding crazy. But there's the best example I can give you. I threw out a ring, it came back presented like, here you go, you didn't mean to do that. What is responsible for that? Now you might think, well, he's had some sort of breakdown, he threw it out. I totally get that. That is the most rational explanation. What is the rational thing? I think I threw it out, but I didn't. Okay, I didn't. So then what? I threw it in the bottom of my bag? It's not like me. I wouldn't do that. There was a small pocket in the front. There's many safe places. In my pocket. I would have kept it in my pocket if I were keeping it. So yeah, anyway, I could ramble on about it for ages, but I'll keep this short. So, thanks for listening. Let me know what the hell you think's going on, if you've had similar experiences, and until next time, take care.